Hello and welcome to our training on using Google Forms for the TAAA&S membership data collection. We're going to be using the University of Tennessee version of Google Apps for Education. With that, we all are able to log into this. We'll be using our NetID at utk.edu for your sign-in, login information, and then your current NetID password. We all should have access to this. It's a lot like your Google or OneDrive for Business and that type of stuff, but the Google Apps for Education has a lot of neat things in it. We'll be using the Google Forms. We already have a form created for you that you should already have that Adam has shared with you. We're going to talk about how we launched into that and then how you'll be able to look at the information and be able to pull that off. You're going to access Google Apps for Education using the web browser of your choice. Internet Explorer works, Google Chrome, Firefox, any of those. The address to log into it is sent in the email that I had sent to you earlier. It's a little hard to go through, but it's https://accounts.google.com/login?HL=EN. Again, a big mouthful to look at and try to remember. Use the link in the email to get to the login page, and then be sure and save that as one of your favorites. I have that as a favorite. I'm going to come in. Depending on how Google was working for you and whether you already have a personal Gmail account, you may come up to different options. You need to be sure and look at which one that you are logging into. I have a personal account and I also have my UT account. If you come to the page and there's no information, you can click on the Add Account and it will give you the information and prompt you through about putting in your username, which is the email address, and then your password. I have my two listed here. I want to make sure that I'm logging into my university account, verify the email address. I just click on that. It's going to prompt me for my current NetID password. I'll type that in, click sign in. Wrong password. There we go. And so now we're in. This brings us to our main page within Google. Again, you're looking at this and it's sort of hard to know what to do. The thing to remember about Google, and it's very similar with your Microsoft OneDrive for Business. Your menu button is going to look like a telephone dialing pad. It's going to have those 9 little buttons. Again, if you move your mouse, highlight over that, it will give you a little glimpse of what it's supposed to do. Click on that icon. It's going to be in the upper right-hand side of the screen. And we're wanting to come down and look at Google Drive. Google Drive is your hard drive. It's the storage information for Google Apps for Education. As you create and do things, this is the default where it will save it. This is also, because it's cloud-based, we can take the files that we have in our Google Drive and then we're able to share those with other people that can access the Google Drive. That's where we're getting our ability to put in one form, and now for all of you to be able to share it and have that information. Now, again, I have a number of different files and things in my Google Drive already. Again, I've been using this for a little while, but you should have a file, and it's going to have a little purple icon beside it. As of right now, the purple means that it's a Google form. All of this is cloud-based and it changes. From a few months ago, This changed the whole format and really how Google Forms worked. It was a complete update from the Google side of things. Nothing that we had to do to our computer. It just when we logged into it, hey, it looked different. If you'll come in and find the TAAA&S membership and double click that, it's going to open up the form for the membership. Now, this is what Adam and I have already created for you. We went in and inserted an image that was just our logo. Everything about Google Forms is linear. It starts at the top and then it continues down. You can't put things from a left to right format. Everything is 1 followed by 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. as you go down. Any of the items that have a little red asterisk beside them just means that is a required field. And we're collecting, we'll start up at the top, our name, what county or department, a bubble they fill in, which region that they're in, and then these are single line answers: title, address, city, state, zip, the user putting their email address in, telephone numbers, optional check boxes for previous awards they've received, a question: do they need to be invoiced, yes or no? If they do, we have a longer answer field that lets them come in and put in that name, address, attention, etc., for someone to get the invoice to them. And then the last question is, are you a first-time member, a yes or no? This is the data that we're collecting. So when we come back and we look at the top of our form, we see we have a little tab that says questions. That's where the information is. And then we have responses. If we click on our responses, we're able to come in and show first a summary. And our summary will show the responses. We have 4 responses in currently. Adam and I had put our information in, and then we had some information for some first-time members. As we look down, it's taking each one of those fields and it's showing us the answer. Now, what's nice about if you're wanting to look at any of this type of information, things that we have, the drop down and the bar chart or the circle picks, multiple choice to pick from, it automatically creates a graphic for us. And again, by hovering over it, it will show you how many responses do you have in each one. Again, all it is summarizing your information. The responses for the awards, have you received any of these? The invoice, a yes or no, again, shows you the bar chart. First-time members, yes or no. The reason that we have this is because we added this question after. We can change that. What we're looking for you as the regional secretary to be able to pull this information out of this, from this form, is that, yes, it collects this information in this summary format. You can also look at it individual by individual to see what each person, how they filled out their form. I look at that and think, well, that's great, but I'm wanting to pull out all of the members from a certain region, or I need to pull out all of the first-time members. I need to pull out all the members who answered a particular question. Well, within Google Forms, because this is built within Google Apps for Education, Google Apps has an equivalent program to Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. The Excel equivalent is called Sheets. And if you look up in the top part of this toward the right-hand side, you're going to see a green icon. When you hover over it, it'll say view responses in Sheets. Just make the connection. Sheets is the same thing as Excel. If you click on that, it's going to open up a new tab in your internet browser, whichever browser that you're working with. And within that, you're going to see that same set of information, except now it's collected in a spreadsheet format. What's nice about this is that you do have access to it. If you find a mistake for someone that has entered something from your region into this, we can change it from the spreadsheet. The first thing you'll notice is that it's going to create a timestamp. That's the date and the time of when this form was submitted. We can use this year after year, and the reason why, we can either come in and we can sort by this timestamp, take the old ones, and we don't use those, and just have everything for the current year, or we can come in, we can delete the results and data out of this form every year or two, and then just reuse it. But timestamp automatically creates it. Now everything else is what's being created across the top. This column that says username, we have now turned this off to where it's not automatically doing this, but as a default, your Google form is set to automatically collect the username of the person who's entering the information. Well, the problem is, if they don't have access to Google Forms, i.e. Google Apps for Education, meaning the NetID and the password, they couldn't use the form. So we've turned that off for the moment. I don't think we have a need to turn this on. This would be also if you decide to use this with some of your clientele in your county, you would make sure and want to turn this off, because when we first created the form, it created this column B. But I think now if we needed to, we could take this off, but it's not going to hurt anything to leave it on. Then as we look, reading from left to right across the page, you'll see that we have our first name, last name, county, department, region, title. This is all the information that was entered into that form. So now we have it. We can come in, we can look at it individually, piece by piece. We see on the awards received, if it's where we're using checkboxes, it will put those multiple items in one form or one line. So Adam has received the Achievement Award and the Early Career Award. It puts that in one cell. It goes back to how we're asking the question. But again, by looking at this, we can easily see what anyone has received. You may just have to click on the individual box. The column O is if you need an invoice. That's a yes and no question. So if we need to be invoicing, we could come in, we could sort our information by this column, the yeses and the nos, and we'd have all of that. There's the information if we needed to provide that additional information. And then our last column, we added it late, but are you a first-time user? Yes and no. I can come back in. I see that Adam had put this in. No, and Morgan is yes. So I was easily able to go back in and I could edit any of these that I did not have that information for. Morgan is a first-time member. We're paying for her, so she wouldn't need to be invoiced either. Anytime that you save any information into Google Forms, it's going to automatically save that for you. by putting in no here and clicking or pressing the enter button or clicking off of it, it automatically saved my response. So at this point, I have two different choices that I could use. I can stay within Google Forms and I can come in and I can start to manipulate my data. I see I have a data tab up at the top, just like we do with Excel, and I can start to come in and I can do my sort data. I can pick how I want to sort this from a column, from rows, etc., and all of that. Easy enough to do. The other option that I'm able to do, if you feel more comfortable with, is that you can come in and you can save this and send it back down as an Excel file. So if I click on my File tab up at the top left of the screen, go down to Download As, I see an option for Microsoft Excel. If I choose that, I'm using Internet Explorer. It comes down at the bottom and it says, do you want to open or save this file name from googledocs.com? I could say yes, save it, and I could do a save and save as, or I could then open it. If I open it, it's going to then open Excel, and it brings that same data sheet into Excel. I can click on my Enable Editing, and then if I feel more comfortable using Excel, I can do that. Pretty easy. Again, make sure I highlight all my data. I can then highlight my rows of data, click on my data tab, sort, and I'm going to say that I want to sort by column E, which is my county and department. I can select OK, and now it's put these in order by county or department name, alphabetically A to Z. I could do the same thing with region by clicking sort. I'm going to come in and pick the title for Eastern, because that is my title one. Excuse me. You have to click. If I highlight all of them, it puts my header up at the top. Now I can say region. And we can, we've got Central first, then Eastern, and Western. If we have all of the data in, you can sort this by region, pick out the ones, all the ones from Central or Eastern, copy and paste those into another sheet if you needed to. That's your membership for your particular region or whatever. I would suggest, if you're going to manipulate the spreadsheet, that data that's there, that you're going to be safer if you come in and you export that to Excel. You can do whatever you want to that Excel spreadsheet. You are not messing with any of the original data. If I come back and I look at my Google Docs or Google, it's Google Forms within the Google Apps for Education, and I'm in my Sheets application, if you come in and say, well, I want to sort this, and all I want are the Eastern region members, and I want to get rid of the others. If you come in and you resort this data, if you delete data, if you do anything to it, it actually does that to the original spreadsheet. This is the original data. So I would strongly suggest, is that after you get this data in and see that it's all collected within the Google form, and you'll be able to see all the results within the Sheets version of it. From Sheets, click on File, Download As, the Microsoft Excel, and let that be the file that you manipulate, delete data, anything to it. If it needs to go into the master record to where anyone else could look at it and see it, you can make the change from the Sheets document. But for your own region use, if you're going to be doing any sorting changes or whatever, I would strongly suggest that you download it into that Excel file and then you have a copy of it. Again, remember, anytime that you make a change within anything within the Google Apps for Education files, when you click on it and then click off of it, it's automatically saving it. There's not a save button. This is all done within the cloud. So again, you will need internet access in order to do any of the stuff within Google Forms or Google Sheets. When you're finished with it, you can just either click the X and close out the tab for any of those forms or sheets that you have open, or you can click the X and close your entire internet browser, and it has saved all of your work. I'll close out Excel. That's your quick tutorial for using Google Forms and Google Sheets for the TAAA&S membership.